God, but we are here.
Oh, so really? So you're more like, you don't say too much, Is that like your natural state? Usually, are you like, so, all to your, do you keep to yourself most of the time?
No, I mean, for you to write that thing, I think you need to be a bit of a nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good stuff, man. So, Peter, karibu sana.
Thank you.
To, of course, a Culture Kitchen right here on SpiceFM. Now, first of all, I have to say that you've written such an amazing book. I love the cover. It's called The Legend of Beach House. Awesome book, guys. If you can check it over here, guys, the cover is just amazing. And apparently you're talking about the legend of Beach House revolves around the March 8th, 2014 mysterious disappearance of Malaysian Airlines flight MH370. On a Friday in the year 2040, the ageless Angel of Dreams presents to us a pair of orphaned triplets, Francis Kaloki Otieno, Francisca Mbatha Otieno, and Moses Kalewa Otieno. The Angel of Dreams narrates a mind-blowing tale of the triplets and other misfits determined to discover what really happened to flight MH370. I love it. High on nightmares from a strange kind of fish, the misfits discover that they are destined to prove the existence of other worlds, to prove Plato's theory that humans exist in different forms and are born on Earth without memories, and then they spend all their lives trying to discover their past lives in other worlds. The Legend of Beach House is a philosophical journey into the human condition and a fictional proof that your life might have a purpose larger than you ever have thought about. With humor and foreshadowing of the future of humanity, the novel dives into the reasons why we as humans might not be as in control of things as we think. First of all, The Legend of Beach House, what inspired this title?
Basically, first things first, thank you so much for the invite. I feel I'm a sort of growing writer, so this is quite something.
Right.
So the Legend of Beach House is basically, revolves around this house where our misfits live, the triplets live. And then the legend is more of the larger story. What happened to the flight and what could have happened to the flight. So
when did you actually publish this book?
Last year, 2024.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it's pretty much a fictional book.
Yeah, it's the thing with fiction is it's never as fictional as we want it to be. Fiction is actually true or more than what we think is non-fiction. Yeah, so.
What do you mean? You'd like to expound on that?
I mean, basically, the things in your head might be truer than the things in the newspaper, so to say.
Wow. Okay, profound.
Yeah, because you're sort of trying to create a world. And the more you create, the more you sort of create the real world, which, should be existing. Yeah.
That's amazing. Talk to me about your background, bro. Where did you actually grow up? Have you always wanted to be an author?
Okay. Thank you so much for specifying, because I was about to ask what part, though I don't have much of a story to tell. But basically, I feel like writing has always been in me. I know that sounds a bit weird, a bit crazy, but I feel like any sort of art, not just writing, sort of goes to a certain family and handpicks this one and says this is going to be the loser in this family. This one. This one is going to be the writer.
That's actually funny. Yeah.
So I sort of feel like it has been inside me for long. Even my childhood, I was this kind of very quiet, introverted kid, and you could find me reading books, and I feel like that was part of the process of how I became.
Right.
And then I grew up under my grandma and grandma's.
So you're raised by your grandmother?
Yeah, something of the sort. Yeah, but grandmas are like the granaries of stories. She tells you so many stories. So yeah.
That's fascinating. I like how you put it. The grandmas are the granaries of stories. I'm reminded that I'm actually supposed to call my grandmother. My dad talked to me about this over the weekend.
Sure.
And every time I call her, she has a bunch of stories to share with me. I love it. And one thing about writing is that it's such a sort of a fancy thing to do for most people. And I guess also most folks out here imagine writing to be a craft only the privileged few can actually go about. Like, it's a very hard skill to have. I think it is, but it's also simple. You can probably learn. If you just dedicate an amount of time to writing, you would eventually learn how to do it. Now, that's actually the basis of our conversation this evening. Creating your writing routine, right? And I know also, obviously most people at this particular time of the year, you're excited, you audit your life, and of course you make resolutions for the next year. You're going to say, okay, fine, next year I want to be like Peter. I have to have a book of my own. Yeah, so why is writing so hard for some folks out here? From your experience, was it a hard thing to do?
Okay, I wouldn't say it's as hard. It's a bit, the question you've asked is a bit two-sided. The hardness comes when you really have to be in around that zone, like sitting down. I know, it's very simple, like the way we are sitting down. But by the time you sit down and you convince yourself, my life is worth this thing, it takes a lot of, mental energy. So I feel like that's the hardest part. But the writing itself, when I start, I just try to go with the flow.
Yeah?
Yeah, like around the time I was starting, I could forget myself. I still do, but not as much. By forget myself, I mean I would sort of forget that I'm human. I just sort of type until your hand reminds you need to chill. Yeah, so
I guess when I said it's hard, I meant sticking with it.
Sticking with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like for you to stick with it, it has to stick with you.
Oh, interesting.
It's like a demon, so to put it. Like a very stubborn demon, which sort of sometimes I just want to have this kind of, I want to call it normal life, Yeah, but then you're sleeping and it's 2, it's 3, and you just have to wake up and, do something on the notes, or think about that book you thought you had forgotten. Yeah, so it has to first come from deep within you. Yeah, like I sort of feel like writing makes you its vessel, its soul is too strong, like you just can't resist. It's like it's any form of art.
What's key when it comes to the art of writing? Is it the discipline or the inspiration? It's interesting you use the word demon. I believe that you're talking about the inspiration. It just when it hits you, you're in it, you're committed fully.
Yeah.
So what comes first, right? Is it the discipline or the demon?
I would say that the spirit, the inspiration, because you have to have something sort of giving you sleepless nights for you to find it sort of worth it to sit down.
Yeah. Talk to me about the process of actually writing this book, The Legend of Beach House. How was the routine like? Walk me through the whole process.
It was a mess. It was a mess in the sense that I was writing it when I had sort of like because we live in the real world, so you have to eat, you have to pay rent and stuff. So I had some sort of job. So around the time I was writing it, I could sort of work for some time, and then when I had enough money, I sit down and say, now I'm writing this thing, So at some point, I sort of, in the middle of it, I sort of got broke and said, this thing is not even going anywhere. Let me just leave it and go look for money.
So you gave it a break?
Yes, a break which was very necessary, but I didn't want it to happen. Then I came back to it later and I read through it and I was like, it doesn't even need to be that long as I had sort of thought, sort of planned out at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I wrote over a few months, edited, sent it to a few friends who read through, gave me thoughts. Then it went on. And
I like how you put it, because obviously it's never perfect. The whole process really has ups and downs. At some point, you're probably going to give it a break. Probably have to focus on a job. So are you saying that during this whole writing process, the little bits of imperfections, of breaks, is still part of the process? Like, you have to expect this and you shouldn't feel bad about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I always find the breaks very interesting because as a writer, I want to write that book until it's done. But then there is a way reality sort of comes in your life as a writer.
Yeah.
Sometimes, they steal the power and, you can't power up your laptop and you have to take a break you didn't want to. Other times, some just comes and then you break off from the writing. Of course, I get very disappointed because I don't want to leave the desk when sort of the juice is coming.
So. What about when the moments when you doubt your story, you don't think it's good enough, you don't like the juice, the content, right? And then you're thinking, okay, fine, I should probably start again. And then at some point, at some point you're like, okay, fine, let me just continue. So the inconsistent doubts, right? The fears of being judged, of actually sharing your work. Did you ever have those phases? And how did you deal with them?
The thing is, I started writing short stories, which sort of published. So far, I've written several, some of which have been published, elsewhere in like places. I don't mean to brag, but in 10 countries. Yeah, so some of them are out there. So the short story sort of taught me that kind of discipline, So most of them were like 4,500 words, like 4,500 or even 5K. So I could sort of write them in parts.
Yeah.
Say today I'm writing, 1,000 words.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow. So that's how actually you create the routine. That's it. And the habit is everything in writing. Like you have to have that sort of mentality of today I'm writing this number of words and then tomorrow. Because the thing is, many times, like when I was starting out, I could exhaust myself, I don't mean to brag again, but it can be productive with the writing. So I could punch 3,000, 5,000 words in a day. That's a lot.
Very impressive.
But what that does, it sort of makes your body start shutting down, and you need the same body to wake up tomorrow to show up at the desk. So, I couldn't continue the following day. Then came in workshops, writing workshops, which are very, very sort of influential to my writing. We went for one with Peter Ngila Nzeli, our story moja, called SSDA, Short Story Day Africa. They were doing like in several African cities. So I was lucky enough to be one of the people called up. And during the workshop, we wrote so much longhand, without thinking, freestyle writing with Modoni, and it was priceless. It was actually after that. That was June 2016. Then July, the following month, I started writing. I started writing my first longer work, like a novel, a small novel. Yeah.
I want to go back to that one. So for the freestyle, are you given like a timeline? It's
just like prompts, like a word, and she would tell us start from here and then just go without thinking. Because the thing is, when you think too much, because we're writers, when you think too much, you sort of shoot yourself on the foot. You kill off the juice which was coming, like the material which was coming. Yeah. So.
Fascinating. Your brain must be very impressive. Huh?
I hope so.
It's one of those. Let me tell you one thing. So, freestyling, not thinking, not being conscious too much while you're writing, and just, going with the flow, is when somebody's listening to you right now, they're saying, Peter, it's very hard. I get what you're saying, but I get bits of those moments, but it's very hard to stay consistent with those moments, just going with the flow. So how do you actually train yourself to freestyle and just have a flow of words, right? Because I remember one day I had the same topic. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. He's a good freestylist, like a rapper.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, Kevin, the thing about freestyling is you have to have a catalog of words in your head. so that you can always tap into them. Your brain can actually just, tap into several words, and then, they'll just make sense eventually. So you need to know a lot of words, and then it eventually makes it easy for you to freestyle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But I mean, I think the more you do it, the more it becomes more free. It becomes more effortless. It feels like there are times I punch, because most of my chapters are usually 2,000 words. It doesn't seem as much, but it's a lot.
It is a lot. So
many times I would punch 1,000 words, 2,000 words, and I feel like I haven't done anything. I go for a nice walk, grab a drink at the when I'm coming back to the house. But then sometimes the words doesn't seem to come. So that sort of the more you keep at it,
right,
the more you sort of the words come. And then I feel like drafting is actually far more spiritual than any other. I actually love it more than any other process of the writing.
Right. So for folks who do not know what you mean, what does drafting look like?
Sorry. It means writing the first draft.
Yeah.
Like the thing from your head. And I always find that process very spiritual. It's like you're tapping at the magic in your soul.
Right.
Directly. Like the thing is just coming directly to the page with no sort of correction. And of course, much later I would have to sort of come back and fix things around. But that to me is the most important thing, when the thing is just coming. You're just, the genius is coming right from your head to the page.
Do you think we can all tap into our own geniuses? Do you think it's actually easy to get there? Is it or it's difficult? It's for a chosen few like yourself?
No, I mean, like I've told you previously, there is a very good reason I think we don't have a lot of writers. Because writing is it's almost like comes handpicks people, just a few,
I'm with you.
Yeah. So, when it sort of picks you up, you can't, somehow you'll get somewhere, like right now where I am, and you start looking back, everything we've ever done, even the silliest of things we've ever done, were for this thing, for you to get here, but you'd never have known. Yeah, it was never a straight line like this. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, so you had to go like this.
Everything adds up eventually, right?
Yeah.
What about the days when, you just, creatively you're dead? You have no inspiration. You can't tap into that genius, right? What do you do?
No, I mean, I would probably watch something. Like now I'm watching Lost, which is fantastic. It's a TV show. Not that I'm not writing. Yeah. And then I would go for walks. I find walks very inspirational. You just go and sort of, there is a way the walks does to your brain, just makes you focus a bit more. Then I would take myself out if I can afford it, go for a beer or two, or, just leave, really.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Hold it right there. Guys, this is Culture Kitchen. I am so fascinated and honored to hang out with Peter Ngila Nzeli. He's an author of an amazing book. It's called The Legend of Beach House. And we're talking all things creating your writing routine. I know a lot of you out there are excited about writing, like myself. I see myself being a writer at some point, but now Peter's actually demotivated me. Sort of. You're saying, this whole writing thing, it's chosen a few people out there. It's not for everyone, but me, I believe it.
I mean, it could be part of the few.
I'm probably part of the few. Sawa, we're coming back in just a bit. Hold it right there. Right now, it's 7:43. Still, I Rise, Twende Kazi by Tupac.